I really should have read my own notes.
Shall I do your intro?
Yes, please. Actually, yeah, wait.
Hello, welcome to the Loose Change Pod Takeover with me, Amani Zubair.
Can we actually?
Today I'm interviewing this fool.
That is sick. Can we?
I'm not doing that.
Can you read out your own intro?
Do I have an intro?
Yeah.
Let me see it.
Are we rolling? Yeah. Can we? I want to see you do your own intro.
I don't want to do my own intro.
And sorry, it's a bit budget. I had to like.
A bit budget. Look at this. Stay at that.
No, don't show. Don't show.
I'm not doing my own intro.
Come on.
I do like this though.
Go on, say it.
And it's funny because I actually scaled it to 6 figures without the investment. So.
Have I made that clear?
No, you said with the investment.
Okay, without. Why didn't you correct it?
I didn't look at it properly.
No, do it. Do your intro. See? Ooh, fart, no poo.
Ew! Men are so vile. There were so many other phrases you could have used other than that one. Gross.
Scaled it to a 6-figure business and got investment. Okay.
Leading to an investment.
Leading to an investment.
Yeah, that makes it clear that I did it without the money.
One of the UK's most famous billionaires. Okay.
Yeah, that's my favourite little phrase. One of the most famous.
I'll go on D&D.
Action. You have to say it as well when you do it, otherwise it doesn't.
You good?
Yeah.
Don't worry, this bit is fine. This intro bit.
It's okay.
It's going to be all focused on you because I don't want people to know that I don't memorize my introductions. So I just read it and then.
I'm just going to be sat here.
I'm not sure I understand.
Oh my gosh.
This is too much.
So dumb.
Is my mic okay? Yeah. Like, is it working? Because I threw it around a couple times by accident.
All right.
Like, can you hear me in that? Okay. Perfect.
So today I'm joined by the wonderful Amani Zubair, who is the founder of jewellery brand Tresor and also happens to be Alan Sugar's youngest ever business partner. Amani founded Tresor when she was 17 years old and has since then scaled it to a 6-figure business, which led to investment from one of the UK's most famous billionaires. Today though, we want to find out a bit more about Amani herself. We'll be diving into what it's really like running and scaling a business at such a young age, lessons she's had to learn very quickly, and what life is like for a 20-year-old with such a different experience to most of her peer group. Delighted to have you with us today, Amani. Welcome to Loose Change.
I'm excited to be here.
How's your day been? How's your venture to London been today?
Horrible. I don't like coming down here at all.
Why? Where are you based?
Birmingham.
The best city in the UK?
Yeah. I love Birmingham. You know what? It's so much nicer than London.
We're good? So first question, why is Birmingham better than London?
Because I just feel like London is such an aggressive city.
I actually agree with you.
It's so aggressive.
More and more recently, because I'm like catching up with loads of friends who have left London, and so one of my friends said something that in London, we spend most of our time traveling, and I have become so conscious of it.
Yeah.
So if you make 3 plans in a day, you have to factor in traveling over an hour, even if it's a half an hour journey each side, and you actually lose so much time to traveling.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. I feel like in Birmingham you can get from one side to the other in under an hour.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's not even like small city feel. Like it's still a city, Birmingham. Yeah. But London is something else. Like it's like.
But you can run out of things to do in Birmingham in 2 days, right?
Yeah, but then you just go outside of Birmingham. We're not trapped there, you know. Like you're not stuck there. It took me an hour and 15 minutes to get here to London.
So like one of the things you can do in Birmingham is leave Birmingham.
Yeah. You can also leave London.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and you should if you watch it. Go and live somewhere else. I always think people who live in London, yeah, you guys are so different because like you have the underground, you're used to this very hustle bustle culture. Like it's very, it's part of who you guys are.
Yeah,
like, it's completely normal to you.
You'd think it suits someone who's very entrepreneurial and busy like you, though.
But why would it? Because it's like a massive waste of time. Like, if I'm spending half of my day on the tube, what am I getting done? Because there's no Wi-Fi down there.
There is actually.
Yeah, it doesn't. Not always.
So every stop, there's Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and what am I getting done every stop? Every 30 seconds out of the stop, what am I getting done?
Yeah, but sometimes it's good to be disconnected.
Yeah, but it's just a waste.
So actually, that's probably like quite a good place to start. Do you think that I guess you get to come into London a lot, and you come in like monthly? Would you say?
Yeah, pretty much.
But do you find that a lot of like business opportunities like centre out of London, and you're having to be here quite often?
I think. Lots of people think that. And I think there's this culture as well of like what people say, like Londonisation. Everything is here. Everything is here. But
London is the centre of the universe. That's what people from London think. That's the problem.
Apparently, but for me, most things are online anyway.
That's true.
Like, if I really wanted to, I could do all this stuff over Zoom, pretty much. All the stuff I usually have to do in a day. But it's nice sometimes to just show face. Sometimes you just have to. But for me, I don't let that be an issue. If I felt like there was more opportunities in London, I would just move here.
Yeah.
Or if I felt like there were opportunities, I don't know, in New York, I'd move there.
That's
It's
true.
not that deep. Everything I do is online anyway.
But for like consumer goods, a lot of like the biggest or headquartered in the UK for consumer goods, they're not in London. So like fashion is huge out of Manchester.
Yeah.
So things are moving, and obviously it makes sense cost-wise as well, right? Not to have everything in London. So I do get it. But I just noticed very early on from when we spoke, you had a lot of hate for London.
I don't hate it, I just don't really like it all that much. It's not that great.
But I'm impressed as well by like how much you try to like fit into your days when you're coming into London.
Yeah.
So it's been a pretty busy day for you already.
Yeah. Because you know what, if I have to come down here, if I have to, I'll get it all done in one day so I don't have to come back.
That's true. No, that's smart, economising your time.
Exactly. That's what's difficult in London as well, because you, like you said, you have to factor in the travel. And for me, because I'm so used to just, like I live in Birmingham, 10-minute walk from my office, 5-minute walk from my gym. If I want to go to my parents, I'm 15 minutes in an Uber away. Like everything is like this, I live in one little circle.
Yeah.
And in London, it's like, you have to run around everywhere and everything is so far away from each other.
That's true.
Because it's so big here that it just wastes so much time.
So that proximity that you have to your office, I think, is ridiculous, because was it a couple of weeks ago when you didn't have a microwave or a toaster?
Oh yeah. I can't believe we're telling people this, are we? This is what
you put it
doing
online.
It, yeah?
You put it online.
On my private story. I can't believe this.
I'm sorry, but like...
Yeah, so I don't have a microwave in my house because I think that it encourages me to
not cook.
Yeah, not be healthy.
Okay.
So yeah, I had to microwave popcorn at my office and walk home with it one day.
See, that's what you can do in Birmingham that you can't do in London.
But you could take the popcorn on the tube, it just wouldn't be warm when you got home. What?
Fair play. Birmingham wins, I guess, on that front. But I wanted to find out a bit more about yourself and like your story. I know like loads of people obviously have heard about Lord Sugar's youngest ever business partner, but I think there's like a whole story behind you and like your very unique set of circumstances and being like such a young founder of a business probably sets you apart from your friends and like your peer group. And that can be a great experience. It can also be quite an isolating experience. But like not everyone manages to hit gold with like their first business idea. I used to be quite business-minded entrepreneur when I was younger, and I set up loads of businesses as well. Not to the scale of yours, but did you have any background beforehand, or was it just like, I'm going to go for it?
So Tresor, I'd say, was like the first properly product-based business. I think initially what really got me kind of hustling was like reselling clothes on Depop, which is most people's story. I like that we all have that in common. But there was that, and then I learned how to make websites.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was my main thing. Like that was the income that I was getting.
How old were you then when you were making websites?
I think I was maybe 15, like 16. Yeah, so I was making websites for Shopify, like Wix, WordPress, whatever. But it wasn't like okay, it was enough to impress adults. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you know when people are older than you and they kind of just like, wow, that's how you post a story on Instagram. Like they just think it's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's like enough to impress them, enough to like kind of make them think I'm doing something really amazing. It was basic level websites, and so for me, it was about kind of going around. I lived near a high street. And I kind of went up and down and I was like, well, you know what, I can build you a website kind of thing. And that's how
Really?
Yeah, so that's how I got
So you actually like proactive approach businesses, and you're like, that's...
So I did it for like a restaurant, I did it for like a spa.
Yeah.
And that was my my first ever proper business kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't really, I don't know, I never even thought of that as a business up until recently.
Yeah.
But that was kind of, that and the Depop money was what I used to fund Tresor.
Okay.
And then Tresor was because I knew how to build a website, so I just built my own.
That's sick. Yeah. So even then, like, I don't think like the fact that at 15 years old you're being that proactive, that's not the norm. Obviously, it's very impressive. I would describe you as actually quite a proactive person from like the interactions that we've had as well. That's definitely not the norm because people have no idea. They're like, what do you mean? Like you just go and find a way to make money.
I think that's something that I carry always, is like, just fucking do it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always like that. Because if I have this idea and I need something, I'll just figure out how to get it done.
And did you have the idea for Tresor for a while? Or were you thinking, I'm going to make this amount of money and then I'm going to try this? Or happenstance, just...
I actually can't remember how it came about. A lot of people ask me this. I really can't remember how it came about, but I know I was very inspired by cultural gold, like my grandma's, like bangles, that kind of thing. And I really wanted to do something jewellery related because I like that. I was never allowed to wear the gold out. We were never allowed to take it out. Nobody trusted me to wear it out. So it was kind of about getting sort of replacement gold, like faux gold. But my product is now was not what it was in the beginning at all.
Of course.
At all.
Of course.
It was like charms and chains and kind of putting them together, and it was doing all the horrible stuff, like, you know, turning you green and all that. Like, giving you a rash, like, oh God, it was horrible. It was really, really bad.
And how old were you when you launched Tresor?
I launched just after my 17th birthday.
Just after 17th birthday. Fair play.
Yeah.
And like, at that point, obviously, like, I don't imagine that you, from our experiences anyway, I wasn't 17 when we launched our first business that was making serious revenue. But even then it took us a while to be like, oh my God, how do we like incorporate this properly and stuff? Were you just sort of freestyling? And how long were you freestyling for before you're like, wait, I'm probably making quite a bit of money now, I need to sort this out?
When do you stop freestyling? When do you stop freestyling? I feel like I still freestyle up until now, and it's even more so now that I have the investment and that I have the team there that does the hard stuff, because it's like, do you know what I feel like sometimes? I feel like, you know, when a parent takes a kid to the park and just watches them play, that's them to me. Like, I'm just in the park, like, having fun, and they're doing all the hard stuff.
You know what? Everyone's winging it. Everyone's actually winging it. Even like, you realise as you get older as well. Yeah. Like, parents are winging it as well. Like, everyone's winging it.
There's no handbook for anything, and there's no one size fits all in business. It's like, even however much you read, however much you learn, and even I'm not formally educated. Like, I don't have a degree or anything like that. And so it's like, you just learn as you go along, and what better way to do it than to just jump in it and learn that way? I
completely agree. I think that's the best way to learn anything. Like, I quite often say, so when I was 15, we didn't have Shopify or Wix or anything like that. So I used to make like MySpace layouts.
I don't even know what MySpace is.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't, but like, I'm sure other people will relate. This is the generational difference. This is the generational difference. But it's funny because that taught me how to do like basic code, very basic, which I've mostly forgotten. But what I learned through that process was like, I got really handy at like the Adobe suite on like editing, graphic design and stuff. And I went and did become formally educated. But actually the thing that I've used the most from that period of my life is when I was just making funny like websites or like MySpace layouts in my room, and that skill is the one that I carried with me because I used it practically all the time, and I launched loads of businesses that I designed myself. So I think it's true that the best and most valuable skills you gain are the ones that you do in practice. And you're probably like a shining example of all of that.
I don't know. I think a lot of people think as well that it's like calculated. I did this on purpose.
No.
I just fell into it.
Do you know, and a lot of people have that. A lot of people have that story, and like I think it's quite refreshing to hear it authentically that way as well. Because I think with any successful business, really successful people will tell you. Obviously, there's a lot of drive. You're very proactive, and you put the work in. You have a very you have a great work ethic. There's also a lot of luck involved in any successful business, and you kind of have to create that luck as well. So then, 17 years old, you launch Tresor, you're starting to generate some revenue, you scale it to a 6-figure business on your own.
I did.
Yeah.
But do you know what? The money took a long time to come in, you know, like it wasn't at 6 figures until I was 18.
Yeah.
Like almost 19. So it took me a long time. I think in the beginning, I was like not making much at all. And I remember having conversations where I was really like I would speak to my friend and I'd be like, look, like nothing is even coming in. I'm not even making any money. Like it's not working. There's no sales. What do I do? And I didn't know how to, I just didn't know. And you know, when you just kind of go into it, you're just blind. You really have no idea what's going on. And like, I'd make the initial money that went in was like £400.
That was your initial investment?
Yeah. I didn't even see that for like 3 months. I didn't even manage to make £400. And it took so long to make money, it took so long to become profitable, and I really started to make money just before lockdown, just before the first lockdown. Because I think when I was in college at the time, so when they started shutting, it was like, I've got nothing else to do now, this is all I've got.
It was a lot of businesses emerged in that time. That's actually around the time we launched Millennial Money as well. And that's what I mean about like the fortunate timing, the luck that we'd been like planning it for a while. We'd like finished all like the branding, consulting, and I remember saying to Shaq, should we just launch? Like, why not? Like, we're not ready, but let's just do it. And it like was very fortunately timed because everyone's at home. Like, I think people are looking for things to do. People are looking for like things to read and like engage with. So it was quite fortunately timed. It was the same for us though. So one of my friends, her name's Nafisa Bakar. She recently, her book's coming out in February. I was talking to her and she said that the first £100,000 in a business is a scramble. It's just like by any means necessary. And I was like, that is so true. Like the first, when you're wanting to reach 6 figures, right? The first 100 grand is just like by any means necessary. And then afterwards, it's when successful businesses strategize. They're like, right, now we want to think of a process of doing this. And when she said that, I was like, that is so true. Like at first, it is just complete trial and error, just somehow trying to reach that mark and just reach that line. So how do you go then from a young teenage girl who's just launched this business, somehow scaled it to 6 figures, to realizing you've attracted the interest of one of the UK's most famous billionaires? Was that a strange experience?
No.
You took it in your stride?
Yeah, I expect everything good that happens to me. Like,
that's a really good attitude to have. No, I rate that.
Yeah, like I think it just kind of, till now, even when I got the news, my mum cried. Like, she was very emotional. So and I was just kind of like, okay, chill, this is not the best thing that's going to happen to me. Like, it's fine. Yeah, for sure. And I think for me, it's like, I really normalize these things in my energy because it's like, that's just how, I don't know, it's just, I feel like it, just helps you to attract good things.
Yeah, good.
So I think I never really had this thing of like, oh my God, it happened. But I was happy. But still, for me, it was like, this is only the beginning because the investment is not the exciting thing. It's what happens. It
then actually makes it a serious job, like almost, doesn't it?
It makes it real. It makes it very, very real. For me, before it was like, it's me in my bedroom making silly little TikToks, taking orders and my pink packaging. And that was kind of it. And when I had like, the big breakthroughs with the viral videos and stuff like that, it was like, just me in the kitchen packing parcels, like that kind of thing. And after the investment, it was, okay, this is the money, this is what we have to do. We have to do board meetings, we have to do this, you have an accountant, you have this, you have that. I'm like...
it was just you on your own in your room before that.
Yeah, for a long time. Well, I did have an office before that, but it was really new, even when I got the investment.
Yeah. Did you ever have a proper job before running your businesses? No. So like your businesses are your first proper job, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I rate that.
Yeah. So I'll just never know.
Yeah. From the outset, it's just about like making money for yourself. That's good though. I think it gives you, I guess you're just focused in on like, I have to make it work because if I'm not.
Yeah. Who's going to hire me? I've got no experience.
Who's going to hire
me?
I mean, I'm reluctant to say that you've got no experience. I think you've got quite a lot of experience. So when you got the investment and then suddenly you're finding yourself in a position where you're like, right, because obviously you can see in your personality you're really playful, and you're like you approach things in like with a degree of playfulness, and I sort of imagine you in these like board meetings for the first time, just like, oh, so what am I doing here?
Like, yeah, you know what it is? I feel like, I don't know what it is. I just think they just take me for a joke. They love it. They actually love it. Like they'll not in a bad way, more like they'll be in their boring meetings all day, blah, 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 numbers. And I just come in like, all right, guys. And they're just happy. I think it never really changed me because, okay, it's like this. If you never understand how serious something is in the beginning, you're never going to act that serious. I don't have a guideline. So I do what I want and it always works. Because I'm not crazy. Like I won't go in and act like mad.
Yeah, of course.
But I just am the way I am, and even if things are going wrong, it doesn't bother me. Like I'm very, very good at not having a mental breakdown in front of everyone. So it's like even if something's going wrong, I can still keep people happy. And it's the same with going into the serious meetings. It's always the same. Like, one thing I really, really try to do is stay true to who I am, because I feel like if that got me this far, like
for sure, I think so. One thing I really admire about, like, again, I don't want to stress the age gap and the generational difference, but one of the things that I admire, especially with young people that get into business, is there's always a degree of fearlessness. And sometimes that degree of fearlessness kind of comes from a small amount of ignorance of what things are and stuff. And like as you sort of like become more experienced with things, you just like feel like you have loads more to worry about. Whereas having that degree of fearlessness can actually take you quite far. Do you think, obviously, like going from like a business in your bedroom, doing everything yourself, like making videos, enjoying it, like you're just making things work on your own, to then suddenly being in very serious like meetings and boardrooms, having Alan Sugar as a business partner, having like an accountant come into your business and like checking your stock and everything for the first time. Did you ever experience, anyone would, but did you ever experience any form of imposter syndrome in any of that?
I don't think it was imposter syndrome. It was more like, I don't know, maybe you could call it imposter syndrome, but I just became really hyper aware that this is not my world. Like, in a sense that I'd never been exposed to a corporate environment. My parents weren't corporate, like they were never in those kind of jobs. I hadn't gone to uni properly. When I did uni, it was like online only because of COVID. Hadn't had a job. I don't think I even knew a single person who had been exposed to a corporate environment. That's how far out of it I was. So it was kind of like, I don't know what's going on, and I'm just making it up. And it just seems to be working. But I was very aware that it wasn't where I came from. And I think as well, I think it was kind of the age, the fact that I'm South Asian, the fact that I'm a woman. It was kind of like, your typical corporate office is not so diverse in London. So it was difficult for me, I think. Because I was kind of like, okay, So
I'm glad you touched on that. I was going to touch on all of those things because there's so many things about you which make you an outlier, right? But I see it as an impressive thing, and I think it will probably inspire a lot of people. Like, first of all, being such a young businesswoman, right? You were 18? 18 when you got the investment? So 18 years old. Boy, what was I doing when I was 18?
Probably not that.
Not running a business. 18 years old, and then, as you mentioned, being a young woman in a boardroom, which again there isn't any level of like fair equity or diversity.
After me was 10 years older than me.
And that was considered a huge celebration as well, like at that period. And then obviously being a South Asian woman as well, because we don't see any level of representation of South Asian women, and there are South Asian women doing amazing things, but again, it's just more and more isolating, right? Because there's less people like you at that level.
And if you go further as well to like the whole thing about religion, and that was something that really was an issue for me, because when getting into that world, it's very much like, so should we get a drink? Should we get a what? Haram. Like, for me, it was so bad because I'd been brought up like alcohol's bad, alcohol is really, really bad, and in our religion it is, but it's very normalised for other religions, and I think when you're Muslim, when you're South Asian, there are other South Asian people like who drink, and it's normal for them, so it's easy to assimilate. For me, it was like, okay, this is one more thing that separates me even more from them, which I think I struggled with because I don't drink.
It's harder to stay firm on your values, and so obviously I've like run a business and also I have a corporate career, right? And even within corporate, that is a struggle. Like, everything that you're experiencing is a massive struggle because people are like, oh, I'm sort of like, there's a tension between my values and what's very normalized, and like the things that I feel like I have to attend to and the things that I have to do. So it is tough. How have you found navigating all of that?
I think think it was tough to figure out that it's not wrong to want to fit in.
Yes.
Like, it's not wrong to want to be like everyone else, but it's more about kind of, like you said, sticking to what you believe in.
Yeah.
And even, like, it's a religious thing for me, but also I genuinely don't want to drink. Because if I wanted to, I would, but I don't. And sticking to that when it's become so normalised, when like majority of my friends are, you know, and the people I work with, it's normal for them to want to get a drink or have a meeting somewhere where I wouldn't typically go.
So I can relate to a lot of what you're saying, and I think I'm impressed by, at your age, right, staying so firm on certain values that you have and what you want to do, because I have experienced, and like I know friends who have gone through a certain character arc where it was so difficult and you found yourselves in like compromising situations. You were like, where a lot of the time you're compromising your own values, right? And it's taken me a lot longer than you to be like, no, this is me, this is who I am. And I'm probably still on that journey, right?
Yeah. I think you never really stop being on that journey. It's always, like, it may sound like I got it figured out, know what I'm doing, but it's not. It's difficult, especially because for me right now at this age, what's everyone doing on a Saturday night? Like, they're all partying, and it's even if it's not to do with work, it's like drinking is something that's so
normalised.
Yeah, and that's okay, but not for me. It's wrong for me.
That's actually quite a UK-centric experience. So that's something I realised.
Get drunk in a field.
So
somewhere.
I've got.
I always see memes of her on Twitter, like getting, you know, like, they're like, what's your rite of passage? Like when you're 15, you get drunk in a field. I don't have that experience.
Like festivals. I mean, so you do have a very different experience to people in your peer group for loads of reasons. I actually spoke to a friend who she was on a few episodes ago, Carmen. She moved to Singapore, so she's British. She like grew up here, like studied here, worked here, and then moved to Singapore and had a change in her life where she stopped like going out partying, drinking, everything. And she was like, when you leave London and when you leave the UK, you realise that not everything is centred around this party culture, the booze culture and everything. And there is a life outside of it. In Singapore, for example, in other places, it's not as centred and hinged around like we have to get pissed because there's nothing else to do. She explained that part of the reason that's the culture in the UK is because we have such terrible weather. So
that sounds
people
so
are like,
random. I'm sure it makes sense, but that sounds really
because it's like, what are we going to do? Oh, it's dark, it's miserable. Let's just go inside. Let's go to the pub or like sit down. And that's part of why like it's just built around this culture in the UK. And we kind of like, there is a part of UK culture that finds it funny to be like in terrible health. And like just to be like quite boozy and fat, and like that is genuinely like quite a UK centric experience. And she was telling me about all this. I was like, oh my god, it's kind of true. Which is why wellness trends come to London a lot later than anything else. So wellness trends start off in Singapore or parts of Asia, Australia, and like West Coast America, because if you think about it, they have such good weather, they're always so much more conscious of how they look. And here it's like so dark all the time, everyone's so covered up, they don't actually care. But I think, I'm hoping that's changing a bit. But all of those things are, like I said, they are quite isolating experiences, and it is something that you continue to learn to navigate. In your business experience so far, which is, for someone your age, quite vast, what's the worst business decision that you've made? Would you say?
I don't know, I made a lot of bad decisions.
Go on, tell me about some of them.
I love making bad decisions because, like I keep saying now, this is the only way you learn. Like, you have to do it, you have to get it wrong, and then you have to fix it. And I think I like that. I think that's a thrill.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's problem solving. That's the best way to. You learn a lot more from the mistakes that you make than.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think probably my biggest one would be like actually looking at the money.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like my phone will go ka-ching and it's a Shopify sale. I'm like, all right, I'm happy, but I don't actually know what's going on. I will never really, up until a couple of months ago, never really looked at the accounts. I just kind of left it alone.
To the accountant.
Yeah, just let Josh do it.
Yeah.
Love him, he's great. But the thing is, like, when I got the investment, I got a whole massive team of accountants. I'm like, you guys do it. You guys look at the numbers. But the thing is, they it's their job to monitor numbers, but they will never be able to the degree that I do it to, because I know exactly what I want and exactly what each thing is. So I think for a while I just didn't look at it. I was just like, they're dealing with it. I don't know. I don't need to look at it, because when I was on a smaller scale, I didn't have to. So I never learned how to.
Yeah.
And because I never studied business or anything like that, I didn't know that you had to do that. I was just like, for me.
Do you get a running update on where you're at with like?
Yeah, I do now. I do.
Yeah.
Now. I did before monthly, but now I do weekly calls, so I'll really like dial into what's going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me it was just like money coming in, happy.
And did any? So this is another thing, right? Getting investment is like quite an interesting thing. So we get asked a lot about whether we'd take investment, and we haven't, right? We haven't taken on any investment yet, and we're bootstrapping, and I quite like that at the moment because it doesn't feel like I have obligations. Did the investment come with a set of obligations that you feel like, oh, I have to?
The investment was for stake in the company, right? So like shares in the company. So it's like 50%, which to a lot of people, they're like, oh, 50%.
Yeah.
Like they hate it. Whenever I tell people this, they get so shocked. But it's like the company hadn't even turned over the amount that was invested. Like he just invested what he wanted to and took 50% of the company. And that was the biggest thing for me, was kind of coming to terms with actually, do I want to let that go?
Yeah.
But I would be stupid not to. It was it was strategic. Like it made so much sense to do that, that I obviously went ahead with it. But I think the massive thing was now that we're equal shareholders. So for example, if he was like, actually you can't release that line of jewellery, I wouldn't be able to. But he doesn't, like he's not, he doesn't care about the jewellery, like he's not fussed. But you know, and also now it's very much like, okay, board meetings, those are like very intense. So intense. I never sleep the night before a board meeting.
Really?
Yeah, I get so much anxiety.
Are they always in London?
No, sometimes, mostly they're on Zoom.
Okay.
Mostly they're on Zoom because, yeah, they're just on Zoom because they don't want to drag me down 4 hours to Loughton from Birmingham. It's so far away. Yeah. It's so far away. But yeah, I think those are quite stressful only because I always psych myself up about them, but they're never that bad.
No.
Like when I actually have them, they're not that bad. But when I get the message, like, oh, can we have a board meeting? I'm like, I get so, I'm like, I can't do this. I just give myself panic over it. But
how often are they?
Monthly.
Okay.
Monthly, usually monthly.
Do you think having this label as Lord Sugar's youngest ever business partner adds more pressure to you to make things work?
I think it does, but I also have this thing of I didn't go on The Apprentice, so I never had what is it, like 3 million eyes on me or something like that. Yeah. So I have far less pressure than them. Yeah. Because I didn't have all those eyes on me. I have followers because of my own post, but not to the level of 3 million people watching me on a TV show.
You say that, but you've gone viral a few times.
Yeah, I have quite a few times. Yeah, but that's, I don't know. I feel like it's different. Like I feel like they have a lot more pressure because they've been seen now on TV. Yeah. Most of the time being silly, and now they have to prove that they're not. So do you know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, it's like I'm fortunate that I am quite hidden compared to most. But people who do know and people who do know me, I feel like it gives. I don't know. Do I feel pressure? I feel pressure, but is it because of that? I don't know. There's also obviously like huge added benefits to have that brand attachment. Yeah. So it comes with. Yeah, like I really wanted to get into retail, and there was nothing setting me apart. What could I do? You know. So I think now having them, it's been easier to kind of set those meetings and meet people in places that I want. You know. Yeah. It's a lot easier. I think I remember as well when I first started looking into retail, I was like, hey guys, do you have any retail links? And they were like, yeah, CEO of ASOS is Lord Sugar's biggest fan. I was like, all right, well, that works out, doesn't it? But I think, yeah, it comes with a lot more benefits than it does negatives, I think. That's good to hear. And do you get to lean on him as a mentor at all? Yeah. Yeah. And he sends me jewellery design ideas all the time. No way. Yeah, when he's travelling, he sends me videos. That's wicked. Yeah, go on. They're so funny. Have you actually like brought anything to market that he sent you across? No. He's great. He's amazing, but not for that. Like it's literally like he'll send me videos when he's on holiday. Oh my god. Yeah. That's so nice. Considering how many businesses he owns and is involved with, he's really thinking about. And I also think that I don't know what it is. I just feel like he lets me get away with a lot more stuff.
Do
Do you know
yeah.
why? Because I just feel like because I'm just so.
Do you think he might see a lot of, again, I'm assuming himself, because he started businesses very young. Like I remember he used to tell stories of like selling stuff out of like the back of a boot in Hackney when he was a teenager, right? So he was a real hustler as well, from humble beginnings, right? So maybe he sees a lot of this like young hustler in
I don't know.
and appreciates that. But it's good. I'm glad that there's more positives that you've taken from that whole thing as well.
But don't get me wrong, it was really difficult in the beginning. Like the adjustment was like, it was massive. There was so much change, and it really became something where I would psych myself up about it a lot. Like I would really get in my head about it. And for example, I don't know, like I wasn't used to kind of the way they speak.
Yeah.
And I no, like
this is so funny because I think you said to me before, like, sometimes I try to practice speaking posh.
yeah, sometimes I do, and when I'm there, I'll be like, I'll mirror them. But do you know what it is? It doesn't even work because they've got Essex accents. Like it's so deep, I can't even do it. I actually can't do it. And when I'm there, and if I'm like, I'll be like, oh, sorry, that was really unprofessional. Like, I always do that. It's really, really difficult. It's really difficult. I'm not used to the way they speak. I'm not used to the language they use. And especially in the beginning, if they'd say things to me in like, you know, your typical like, you know, standard work voice, I would get off the phone and I'd be like, they're really angry at me. He's upset with me.
You can't read the tone.
Yeah, because I don't know. And because it felt really, really harsh, because I wasn't used to that. So it was a lot of like, I think, adjusting to what it's like to work with men, older men, like a lot older, you know, like 40, 50-year-old men, which is not old, but like a lot older than me, significantly older than me. And it was like, okay.
Then the business environment as well.
Yeah, then the business environment. And then when this kind of, okay, also Lord Sugar's involved and he's quite intense, and then there'd be board meetings, and it's just like, it was a lot of stuff where I was kind of juggling, trying to be like, how do I fit into this? But I realised I don't really need to fit into it. Like they don't even care.
Not at all.
They actually
Just to be yourself. Just be yourself. You've seen, okay, that's a good segue because being yourself has obviously brought you like quite a bit of attention online as well, which is great. I think you've done a great job as just being yourself and building your personal brand in that way. Was any of that tactical for your business?
It wasn't so much tactical for Tresor. It was more, I was like, okay, I do this, what else can I do? You know? Like, what more can I do?
Yeah.
And off the back of that, I started doing sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, like TikTok personal brand consultations, that kind of thing. Because for me, it was like, okay, I know this platform. I'm very, very passionate about this platform. Like I know how to leverage it. I know that there is so much potential for so many people, and nobody's taking it up. Like nobody's doing it.
Yeah, like me.
TikTok
is
the actual.
It's not my bag. It's not my bag.
You want to book a consultation?
Yes, I do actually. Please.
But like for me, the passion was not going viral myself and being famous. It was more to be able to prove a point. Like, look, I can do it. I can teach you how to do it. That kind of thing. Like I really wanted to be able to. I like projects. I like taking something from this to this. You know. Yeah. And it wasn't so much about going viral, like being famous. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I really like the.
When did you first go viral? What was your first experience of going viral?
My first.
Was it the street interviews?
No. No. You think that was my first time?
No, I'm asking.
I've been going viral for like 3 years.
Yeah, I know, but like, what was the?
No.
Because you got your.
The street interviews were like 2 months ago. That was really recent. Yeah.
You've been doing them for a while, no?
No, they were really, really recent.
Okay, or like you did like you got your BTS stuff, Day in the Life. You love those.
I love a day in the life.
What is it? Day in the life of a founder with long legs.
Day in the life.
That's how you start your day.
I start them with the most weird hooks. Here's a tip: start with a weird hook and you'll go viral. Yeah. That's what you have to do. Like I think being on social media, you really have to come up with so much. I don't know how to explain it. You just have to be really, really.
Yeah, I think you have to
really
be quite fearless as well, because it's like, and not be afraid to do the self-promotion thing, which people are quite uncomfortable. I'm not great at it. I find it. I do sometimes. I'm like, well, I look at videos of I'm just like, why do I have to be in front of camera?
I know,
like,
but
I'm
you
still
know
like
what?
that.
I read somewhere one time. I don't remember who it was, but it was like when you remove that part of you that cringes, you can do anything.
100%.
Do you know what you should do? You should do rejection therapy.
Rejection?
Do you know what rejection therapy is?
Nope.
Okay. For you, I'm trying to think what you could do. So, have you ever seen that video of that girl on TikTok? And somebody's filming her, and they ask her what she's doing.
Yeah.
And she's basically on a busy street in London. She's got a yoga mat. She's lying on the floor.
Okay.
That's all she's doing.
But where's the rejection therapy?
Because
then?
people are walking past her and they're looking at her like, what the fuck is she doing?
Okay, so she's like normalizing herself to
because
rejection.
she's like fearless now because
Yeah.
a million people have walked past thinking she's a weirdo.
Yeah.
She's like, I'll just do anything now because that many people have judged me already. Like you have to scare yourself out. But I think I did that by going viral. Because when you go viral, it's brutal. It's brutal. They're so mad.
Yeah.
People get so upset at you for so many random things.
Yeah. I've had it's true actually. And obviously like when you look at the comments as well, they're quite funny. I had one recently when we got posted on, we did something with Lad Bible.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And someone commented, what's Ashley Banjo doing giving money advice?
I don't even know that, so it's not funny to me, but I'm sure
it's the guy from Diversity, the dance group. No? And I just remember looking at that thinking, that is actually quite funny, but obviously at my expense. But
I think, you know what, these comments, I always say this.
Some of them are jokes.
No, some of them are so funny and so creative and so poetic. I just think, if you guys put that energy into something else, you would be amazing.
Yeah, it's true. Like you do have to see the funny side of it. So, to what extent do you think social media has had an impact on Tresor and like your business?
So the Tresor page itself has gone viral many, many times, and that was how I made, my first lot of money. Like I think my very first video was 4.5 million views, and it sold out my entire website.
Really? Wow. That's mad. So you can get a direct correlation there. People can do the maths. 4.5 million views on one viral video sold out your entire online. Yeah,
that was back in the day when TikTok was great, when TikTok conversion was there.
Yeah.
Because there weren't many businesses on TikTok. It took a lot for all the big brands to join.
But was that viral video as Tresor or as Amani?
Tresor.
Okay.
I only really started my personal brand less than a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't doing that all the time.
Okay.
I was Tresor first and then Marnie later. But yeah, so I had that video and then that's 4.5, then I had 1.2, then 2, then 3. And it just kind of was, in the beginning it was very consistently going viral. And then I made the grave mistake of running paid ads from that account. Yeah.
Really? And does that stunt every...
Yeah, because now TikTok thinks, okay, she'll pay.
Yeah, so let's limit her reach.
I know, so that happened to me. But yeah, that's also something we've been dealing with that's been difficult. Because it's hard to let an account go. We've got 160,000 followers. Like it's hard to let an account go. But we have got a new account, which is stressful. But yeah.
So apparently, I hear that about TikTok. A lot of people say just make a few accounts and then one video will go viral and like use that account because that's...
Yeah. That's what we've been doing. So even all our old videos. And on TikTok as well, you shouldn't be afraid to post your video 3 or 4, 5 times.
I hear that a lot as well.
Be afraid.
Yeah, because the same one, because there's, someone was saying that he was like, he posted the same video 3 times. On the 3rd try, it went ultra viral. Didn't change the video at all and changed his life. Because a lot of people say you're like one viral video away from really changing your life, business, whatever.
Something like that. But I don't know, it's like, people think going viral is the answer, but it's not. It's absolutely not. It's like, if you go viral, you don't have the steps in place to retain those customers, to retarget those customers. You're done for. There's no point. You wasted it all.
It's true.
You have to really have a good enough base and then worry about going viral.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something else that I learned from a friend. And he was saying that some people just actually aren't ready to go viral, and it's probably good that they don't. And it's good that it's delayed. So when it happens, you're prepared for it and you can actually execute.
Yeah. And even it's just about like, I think we have this, they've like romanticized going viral so much that people think it's the answer to all their problems. It's better to accumulate, I don't know, 1 million views over 10 with 100K than to get 1 million on one clip.
100%. No, I can, and like the vanity metrics, I know for a fact, like I don't care about them. Like it's mad because I remember we secured like brand deals off of a video that I'd forgotten about that maybe got like 200 views on YouTube, and I was on a client call and they were like, oh, we saw this video that you did like X amount of weeks ago. We really loved it. Can you do something like that? And that's the reason we reached out to you. You forget that each of those views are potentially someone that can convert into money or sales. And that, I remember that experience being like, oh, okay, I need to actually think about this a lot more differently. But I think for someone your age, again, coming back to that, it's good that you guys are much more, I'd say, social media native and understand the platforms, and also like your peer group, especially with TikTok, your peer group, that is your platform of choice, right? And for like, I can't believe I'm saying older generations, right? Who might have used social media in a different way. It's harder for them to adjust and understand the platform more natively, and it's more difficult for them to go viral or like think about tactical ways of using social media. But would you say that it's like firmly within your plans for Tresor when you're scaling or doing anything that you have like a social media strategy?
Yeah, I think we were all organic up until the investment, pretty much. And then I started playing around with paid ads, but the base of everything has always been our organic social media presence. It's like, if I don't have that, I don't have a shop, I don't have footfall.
Yeah.
Like the main thing for online businesses has got to be your social media. It's got to be your TikToks, and it's got to be your Instagram, your Reels and whatnot. And it's really, really important to showcase your product, showcase who you are as a brand, even as a person if you're doing a personal brand. And you really have to, I don't know, like you really have to be in people's faces.
Yeah.
And how else are you going to do that if you don't have a good social media strategy in place?
That's true. Good advice. Good sound bites for people to take note of. How do you manage to get, obviously I've seen videos, loads of people have seen videos of you getting endorsements from like Burna Boy, Stormzy, Big Zoo, all these events. How do you manage to get so many celebrity endorsements?
You just have to turn up.
What's your plan? How do you go about making that happen?
I just go.
Go where?
Wherever.
How do you know where they're going to be? Obviously it's like signings and like stuff.
I don't know, you just have to keep an eye out for it, honestly.
And then what do you take? Because I've seen the video of Stormzy creasing at something that you put.
Because Stormzy put on his story, so gross. He put on his story, what did he put? He just kept going near his stylist and just farting.
Yes, I saw those videos. Oh, yes.
It was so fun. I was like,
Yeah.
But so we put his album name on the outside as like a lovely gesture, which we tend to do. And then he was like, oh, this is so lovely. He turned it around, he started dying. It was so funny. On the inside, we put Big Mike, aka Vibes Fartel. Because that's what he put on his story. He loved it. He loved it so much. Do you know what all it is?
Oh my
like,
days. Vibes Fartel.
Yeah, it was so great. I was like, ew. It was really funny though. And I think with the whole celebrities kind of thing, you have to remember that they're people. Like they're not, everybody shoves a camera in their face, but when you do something that's very, very personal to them and kind of, like everybody likes a gift, everyone likes a gift, but when you do something that's really, really personal, they like it, as anyone would, and they feel more comfortable kind of letting us take the videos, and they're they have a lot more personality. Like you probably noticed, he's not giggling in everyone's videos. You know what I mean?
For sure, man, for sure.
So it's like taking into account that they are people, and really, that's kind of like what Tresor, what is at the center of Tresor. Like it's very much, this jewelry makes you feel good. Like it's made to, you know, make you feel expensive without having to spend the money. Yeah. And I know, even though people think, oh, rappers and singers, they have like more money, that it's not like it's sentimental because of what we put on the jewelry. Yeah. So no, I just think it's a nice thing. It's just nice to be nice. I think being nice gets you most things in life.
I agree, definitely. It definitely comes back round. So on being like so young and having like a successful business, being like a young woman with a successful business, how has it impacted like other areas of your life? So one of the things is like your friends that you might have gone to school with or college with, right? They can't really relate. Like a lot of them might be at uni, probably don't have any money. Like it's, you find yourself in a position where you're probably isolated by your success. Have you found it impact your life, your personal life?
I think it doesn't just impact friendships, it impacts every kind of relationship you have. even past, present, the ones that you will have, it really makes it different to your typical experience with, you know, making friends, getting into a relationship, that kind of thing. And it's like a lot of people my age I think I'm better than them. There's this kind of attitude towards me from like my age group, even older, on my social media and in real life as well, that because I am where I am, I think I'm a cut above everyone else, kind of thing. So anything I say, majority of the things I say, come across like I'm being very aggressive. Like they really, like for example, if I'm like, okay, you know, this is how many sales we made today, they're like, oh, fucking show off. Like that kind of thing. Yeah. And I think because, oh my God, I swore so many times.
No, you didn't.
I swore like 4 times.
You didn't, you're fine.
Sorry. Should I not swear?
No, you're fine.
Are you going to go beep?
No,
beep out?
you're fine, you're fine.
What was I saying? Yeah. Like people think, I think because of the position that I'm in, and it's natural because anyone who, all of us, we might look at Jeff Bezos and be like, oh God, he's rich. Like,
yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like we all think that. Like, we all think that about people who have money or are in positions where they're around money. And for me, being so young and also not having been exposed to this amount of money before, it makes me feel like it gives me even more kind of imposter syndrome vibes because everyone's kind of like, well, who is she to be like that? You know?
Do you find yourself like consciously having to make people comfortable and be like, oh no, I'm really not like that, and like, do you find yourself in that position?
Yeah, and then it's like, well, only people who are like that say they're not like that. You know what I mean? It's this cycle of things. Like things happen, but with people my age, okay, this is my analogy in my brain that makes me feel better. Yeah, if someone's okay, your typical 20-year-old, their life is 10 squares, yeah? And if they have a problem, it's 1 square.
And visualizing it.
Yeah, visualize it. If they have a problem, it's 1 square. That's quite a big problem, right? If that problem is quite big, it's 1 out of 10. But my life is 100 squares. So if that same one problem is there, it's not that deep because I've got 10 more of them. Do you get what I'm saying?
True, I get it.
So for me, it's like the way they think and what they have, their mindset, what they want, what they see, how they see the world, what they see in the world, is like so completely different to the way that I am. And it makes you feel really like, okay, this doesn't feel normal. And if everyone else is feeling this way, maybe I should feel this way, but I just can't. I can't afford to. I can't afford to get upset over something that...
It's all relative, right?
Yeah, it's all relative.
Relative to their own experiences. So I've got like friends like who are women, successful women who are doing well, and one of the things that they talk about is like how much they struggle with men and like dating and like because they find that men can be intimidated by their success, or not all men, by the way, but that's experiences that they've shared with me, and they actually find it quite difficult to meet people because of that. Have you, I guess for you it's amplified, right? Do you find that it's made that side of your life more difficult as well, meeting?
Yeah, so like you said, it's even more because of like the whole religion thing. It's not really, I'm not really a dater, to be honest. But I think my age works in my favour. I got time, plenty of time.
Exactly.
I got plenty of time. And also, like, okay, this is going to sound really horrible, but being where I am pushes away what I don't want. In a sense that, like, okay, the type of men that are scared of me, I don't want them anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? So it makes the process easier because it's like I don't attract. It all out.
It cuts out all of the.
Yeah, like I don't attract what I don't want, so it's fine. It's like okay, this is going to sound so dramatic, and a lot of people think this. They're like, oh my God, Marnie's such a bitch. Like she doesn't like broke boys. It's not that. It's not that. No, it's true. Everyone's like that. And do you know what? Like one time I did a TikTok live, and so sometimes I just randomly go on TikTok live just to talk to people. I just go on TikTok live, and the topic came up, and they were like, okay, like, you know, what does a man need to give you to get married? And I was like, a pink G-Wagon, £1 billion, blah, blah, blah. And everyone in the comments like, what? Who do you think you are? Like, as in they can't tell it's a joke. Like, £1 billion. Well, you know, it's not unreachable, but yeah. And I think for people, it's like, saying these things about relationships really upsets them.
Well, you
It
know,
really upsets them.
it's what Islam teaches you. If someone wants your hand, you're allowed to ask for something.
Right.
You can put a price on it. So,
That will be the pink jewel.
so you're it's well within your rights to ask for that. What next then for Tresor?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, let alone what's going to be like next for Tresor. I don't have. This is again my finger winging it. I don't have a plan.
Yeah.
I don't have a 5-year plan, 10-year plan.
What about a quarterly plan? No, you do. You're a liar. I saw you doing a shoot for Valentine's.
Yeah, but that's just like, that's a content plan.
You've got like new lines and stuff that you're working on. I think you actually have more of a plan than you say without realizing it, because you can't just run a business without. I think for you, it's
Watch me.
I think I feel like you've probably like just normalized having a bit of a plan.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh, this is just what we do.
Yeah.
Better question then, because you are more than Tresor. What next for Amani?
Oh God, I don't know. No, I think I'm taking this year to really focus on Tresor because I did let it slip a lot last year.
Okay.
So last year was a lot of trial and error. It was a lot of wasting and losing money, and it was a lot of figuring out what I want to do and how I want to do it. So this year it's really implementing kind of what we figured out.
Yeah.
And just trying to, make a little bit of money. Make a
lot of money. I think you smash it, man. I think you've got a great range of products, and you've also obviously got a smart head on those shoulders. I think you'll make anything work. And the beauty of it is you have so many years ahead of you, and it's more than just Tresor. There's so many other things that you can apply all of your learnings to. So to close, as you know, there's something that we like to do. It can be very silly, but we ask all of our guests if they have any loose change that they'd like to share with our audience. It could be something funny, it could be something that like really impactful that you're reading, that you're watching, or something that's impacted you that you think will be useful for people to take away with. It could also just be a joke, but...
I don't have any jokes. You think I'm a clown? Is that what I came here to do?
But is there any loose change that you'd like to share with our audience?
Okay, I'd say this is something, yeah. Like that not everyone can necessarily agree on, and a lot of people think it's a bit mad. And my mum was really like, what you do? What the hell? But I started meditating like maybe 6 months ago.
Okay.
And I honest to God think that it completely changed my life.
Okay.
So for me, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs experience this, we feel like there's so much going on, so many thoughts in our brain, and you really, when you're an entrepreneur as well, you're so busy, you're working on so many things at all the time. You really forget to sit down and process your thoughts. And I think that's what meditation is for me. It's just silent meditation.
Stillness, right?
Yeah. So dark room, dead silence, eyes closed, 20 minutes minimum. And it works so well because I realized that I struggled so much feeling like I can't find the answer. Like I don't know who to ask. And I just feel like I'd find myself asking people silly questions.
Yeah.
When I knew the answer within myself, I just really didn't give myself the time to figure it out. And I really, really needed to listen to myself more than I thought I did. And through meditating, I've really been able to okay, if something has happened in a day, I would be restless and not be able to sleep. But I can meditate and process my thoughts and, have a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
And I think that's something people really, really struggle with when you have a lot going on.
Yeah,
so I
that's
think
true.
you should try it. Do you meditate?
I have done.
I think
I don't have like a regular practice.
I don't think I've
of it.
missed a day of meditating.
I used to do it a lot.
You should. It's great.
It is great. It is great. I agree with you entirely. I probably need to make it a bit more of a regular thing. When in the day would you do it?
I do it before bed, but some people say doing it in the morning really grounds you for your day. So I might try doing that.
Yeah, wicked. Well, thank you. I'll let you know about my meditation practice.
Okay.
And thank you for everything that you've shared with us today. It's been amazing having you on.
Thanks.
Thanks, Amani. Cut.